Our story begins 10 years ago when gates opened up in the world, letting in various monsters of different types. But the awakened had started appearing. Those awakened people became hunters who hunted down the monsters. A young man is seen shirtless with red eyes. A huge piece of diamond hits him in the face. He is sent flying backward into a chair and table, causing stationery and books to fall everywhere. He lands heavily on the ground with his blood splattered around the diamond and on his body. His name is Jihyoung. He was a loser. A group of teenagers appears and the blue-haired man calls Jihyoung a worm while summoning a diamond rock in his hand. He shouts at Jihyoung to hurry and squirm around as he lies on the ground unmoving. Jihyoung had the ability to regenerate, which was supposed to be an S-rank ability, but he hated it, as it causes him a great deal of pain as he screams while regenerating. The bullies continued to attack and laughed at him, and laugh again when Jihyoung was in pain from the healing of his ability. There was not even a shred of proof of the bullying left once he had healed. Teachers and police could not do anything to help him, at least to the S-rank awakened who was receiving special treatment from the government. A simple store is seen representing the place and reason why Jihyoung was still enduring all the bullying. It was because of his mother who runs the store. Jihyoung's father died when he was 5 years old. As he ate his mother's food, she asked him how was school. He tells her that it was great even though his uniform was in a mess from all the bullying. He could only think of becoming a hunter once he graduated from school, as his mother asks if it was true. Tears fill his eyes as he takes another bite of the meal, thinking that he just had to endure the bullying. He looks at the bowl of rice knowing that he would at least be a C-rank hunter with his ability. That even with his small income, he wanted his mother and himself to be able to live somewhere better at least. He looks at an overworked hand thinking that they should at least be happy. A calendar is seen with a red circle on the 15th day, which was marked as Jihyoung's birthday. That was what he thought, but a look of horror was shown on his face. The bullies from his school had beaten Jihyoung's mother into a vegetative state. A man in a black suit wearing sunglasses informs Jihyoung that it was an accident. The bullies had coincidentally come into his mother's restaurant. A memory is seen where Jihyoung's mother was serving the bullies their food. The blue-haired bully commented that she was really hot. He grabs his mother's arm, asking her what she thought about him as he explains to her that he was awakened and could make diamonds. The other bully comments that he was a crazy bastard. But his mother pulls her arm away from him in a hurry, saying she was sorry but had accidentally knocked his phone. The phone crashes into the ground and its screen is cracked from the fall. She grabs his phone on the ground in a panic. She asked about how she could pay for the damages, but the blue-haired bully unleashes his horrible ability as he flew into a rage, causing diamond spikes to pierce his mother's body all over. Jihyoung could only bite his lips and held his anger in upon hearing the story as blood dripped all over his face. But he knew the bullies. His teeth dropped to the ground as he knew that it was no coincidence nor a rage of their abilities. As he clawed his skin till it bled, he rips apart his body in anger and rage, crying out in pain. A pink cake had dropped to the ground with a note written with the words "Happy Birthday, Mom." A huge mountain could be seen near the city. A bully asked the blue-haired kid if it was going to be okay as Jihyoung's mother might die, but he assures him that nobody cares as he lays on top of a rock that was floating due to another bully's power. He hopes down from the rock and wraps his arm around the other bully, telling him that they were young enough to be protected by the law and were also awakened. But the bully was still unsure. The blue-haired bully looked into his eyes and asks if he thought it was his first time beating someone up. A figure appears in front of them asking why they did it. Jihyoung appears and walks toward them as they wondered who he was. He shouts out asking why, but the bullies were confused about what he was saying. In a furious rage, Jihyoung yells out, "Why did you do that to my mom? You FING bastard." But the blue-haired bully simply smiled and said ah. He looks at Jihyoung and realizes that it was his mother they had beaten up. He commented that she looks really young, which angers Jihyoung even more. Jihyoung rushes towards them in anger, but a long white lighted spear pierces his body. He collapses to the ground as the bully commented that he had almost flirted with his mother. Jihyoung grabs onto the diamond spear and pulls it out of his chest. Blood splatters everywhere as his eyes were filled with tears from the pain. He had managed to pull out the diamond spear with all his might. A gaping hole could be seen in his chest. But his ability slowly heals it, causing the hole to close. He struggles from the pain of the healing. He continues to look at the bullies, calling them bastards. The bullies were amazed at this, but summoned even more diamond spikes that appeared in the sky above them. He points his finger forward and then points it downward. The endless number of diamond spikes continuously pierced through his body. The bullies watched as Jihyoung was skewered into by the diamond spikes, where they asked him who he thought he was. They called him a loser as Jihyoung remained motionless. But he soon awakens and continued to heal his body with his ability, as huge veins could be seen all around his body. He continues to move forward as the diamond spikes pierce deeper into his body with each step he took. He reaches out to the bullies in an insane zombie stance. His eyes and body were covered in blood and his hand trembled from the pain, but he continues to reach for the bullies. The blue-hair bully tells his friend Thor that Jihyoung was really determined, but tells Thor to show him. Thor looks at Jihyoung for a moment before his eyes started to flow as Jihyoung's hand reached close to him. A blinding light was cast on Thor's face. Lightning had struck down and hit Jihyoung from where he stood. Jihyoung kneels on the ground after being hit by the lightning strike of Thor's ability. His body was still pierced by the diamond spikes while electricity was still lingering on his body. The bullies watch as Jihyoung lies flat on the ground, followed by a trail of blood. The bullies decided to go and spat on Jihyoung as they walked by him. But Jihyoung's body trembled as they walked by. He soon grabs onto one of the bully's legs. He asks him where he thought he was going, which angered the bully. His fist was covered with the diamond as he strikes Jihyoung straight in his head. He continues to beat the crap out of Jihyoung, telling him that he was a piece of shit and that he should have protected his mother instead of getting mad at him. The bully's diamond fist is seen in Jihyoung's mouth as he lies unconsciously. But he soon regained his conscience and bites hard onto the diamond fist, causing his teeth to break and more blood to flow from his face. The bully was disgusted and alarmed to see what Jihyoung had done. He then calls the other bully named Sandman. He tells Sandman to dig as the ground around Jihyoung continued to move around him. Jihyoung attempted to crawl away from the bullies while cursing at them. Thor asked the blue-haired bully what he was doing, but he tells Thor to shut up. He focuses his hand and ability on Jihyoung as he lies in the pit created by Sandman. Dozens of endless diamond spikes soon started to appear around Jihyoung. The diamond spikes continued to move closer to Jihyoung as he curses at the bullies, promising them that he was going to kill them all. His eyes contained his anger and rage as he shouts out, "I'll kill you. All of you." As the diamond spikes slowly covered his vision of the bullies. The blue-haired bully smiles and tells Jihyoung to try. As he walked away, telling him if he could even get out, as Jihyoung was trapped in a diamond shell while being buried alive. Diamond spikes could be seen everywhere as Jihyoung's hands were pressing against the spikes. He curses in his mind as he lies deep in the ground. Anger consumed his mind as he curses even more. He yells out in frustration and continuously punches against the diamond spikes, causing blood to splatter everywhere. But he realizes that since it was a diamond, and that there was no way it would break as he stopped punching. But he realizes that something was wrong. He tries his hardest to breathe. As there was no more air left, he was soon rendered unconscious. It hurts, he screams in his mind as he loses consciousness. But because of his regenerative ability, that was forcibly keeping him awake. But his regenerative ability comes with pain. Endless amount of pain flowed through him as he continues to heal and bleed over and over again. Every moment feels so overwhelmingly. He reaches out to a diamond spike and grabs it tightly, pulling it close to his throat as it was too painful to bear, and stabbed himself to end it all. A memory image of his mother smiling came to his mind. Because of his damn regenerative ability, which couldn't even allow him to die. Jihyoung continued to struggle to breathe as his wound starts to heal again. He then realizes that he was so utterly powerless now. He was slowly consumed by the fact that he was powerless. A spark ignited in his soul as anger filled him once again, as he realizes that this was how his mother was feeling at this moment. He grunts hard with his teeth tightened. He starts to punch against the diamond spikes again, wanting to get out, no matter what. And no matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter to Jihyoung. He was determined to get out. He needed to get out alive. Back in the city. A large screen is broadcasting an interview which is coming live to the people with meeting hunters as they were with the famous S-rank hunters. The interviewer noted that the S-rank hunters were famous for their kindness and had heard that they do volunteer work often too. The S-rank hunters commented that they always felt joy whenever they helped out those in need. And still felt that way. The interviewer was amazed as it was revealed to be the trio of Jihyoung's bullies. The interviewer then moves on to the next question, asking them about a rumor that they had hurt a civilian 5 years ago because of an ability outrage. The bullies remained silent upon hearing that question. The blue-haired bully covers his face as tears drip down his face, telling the interviewer and audience that the victim of his ability outrage was the mother of a close friend. The bully continued to explain that it had happened when he was a student and was not able to control his abilities well enough back then. Sandman and Thor just continued to stare at him in disbelief. The bully tells the audience that he had apologized to Jihyoung but has not been able to contact him since then, as he wanted to apologize to him again. He tells the audience that he was really sorry but was cut off as a door was flung straight toward him. The door hits him straight on with a loud impact. But he had managed to block the attack by covering his arms with diamonds. What the F, he says as he looks to where the attack came from. The audience screams out that there was a monster and rushed to leave the place as a demonic shadowy figure appeared at the door. A clawed foot appears with a heavy impact on the ground as the audience shouts to run. The demonic figure takes another step forward. And soon the trio of bullies were all looking at the horned figure. The bully stares, but soon the demonic figure leaps from the ground. And its hand appears close to his face as he gasps in shock. Jihyoung is seen still punching against the diamond spikes. Wondering how much time had passed since he was trapped. He thought about if it had been a few months or a few years. He looks at the diamond and notices that there wasn't even a single scratch. But there was one thing. Jihyoung noticed that his regenerative ability was different from others. The continued injuries triggered an excessive regeneration and he had regenerated into a stronger person than before. His exoskeleton had come out as he looked at his hand covered in a bone-like material. Inside that grave, Jihyoung's body changed, parts of his body had been destroyed. His entire body had regenerated. But the pain was a constant whenever he healed. His blood splattered, his flesh was ripped, his bones broke, and finally pain. When Jihyoung had regenerated, the pain he experienced was worse than death. But even then Jihyoung continued to punch his way out. Cracks soon began to form in the darkness. And his red eye could be seen. More cracks began to form as the darkness slowly shattered into pieces. Jihyoung's fist had managed to reach the bully's face, causing his eyeball to pop out of its socket. He sends the bully flying and crashing while Thor and Sandman could only stare. Thor was shocked and stunned at what just happened. As Jihyoung's demonic figure was reflected in his eyes. He stares at Jihyoung's new form after spending so long trapped within the diamond cage they had buried him in. Memories of the past arose from when the bullies told Jihyoung to try to kill them if he could even get out of the trap. And now he was finally free and in front of the very bullies that had buried him. An evil dark aura was unleashed as Jihyoung tells them that he got out. Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.